Hello, everybody. John and Drew coming at you today from Gaming Ops, and today we're going to be bringing you a top 10 of Pokemon we would like to see in Pokken Tournament.
Our top 10.
We're each going to be doing 5. All the Pokemon on our list are Pokemon that have not yet been announced. They said that there will be more announced before the game is released, so the Pokemon we list today may or may not end up in the game on release or possibly as DLC, but we're going to start things off with Drew.
Alright, so for my first Pokemon of our little top 10 that we're doing is Scyther. And the one reason why I chose Scyther is because I really like his fluid movements. I like his two-hand swords, his hand blades.
Yeah.
Of course, the classic Scyther!
Yeah, buddy.
But, so some of the moves that would be awesome to see with Scyther would be Steel Wing. I think that would be a really, really dope move to see.
Oh, yeah.
And they could probably hit really hard, too, depending on what Pokemon you're battling against.
Oh, yeah.
Fury Cutter, of course, you got to have Fury Cutter in there. That'd be a nice little combo starter. Swords Dance, to go ahead and pump up your Scyther and get them going.
Yeah.
And then the last move that I would like to use for him, or like to see in the game, would be X Scissor. That would be probably as a special move, maybe.
Like his ultimate.
Yeah, that would be really cool to see how they would do that with the animation wise.
Yeah. My number one would be Toxicroak. I think Toxicroak would be badass in the game. I don't do the stat thing. Never did. So if you ever battle me, don't expect stat moves. I'm just gonna come at you with hard hitters.
Yeah.
His normal move, Sucker Punch.
Okay.
Normal punch. Stepping things up a little bit. Venoshock, that would be crazy.
Wow, yeah, that would be a crazy move to see.
Poison Jab, I think that would be really cool. It would be really cool to see that as also give you kind of like a damage over time effect. Hit you with Poison Jab, and for a little while you take poison damage.
Yeah, I can see that for probably about 3 to 5 seconds during the match. You're taking a little bit of poison damage.
And then his ultimate would be Belch, which is his most powerful natural move in the Pokemon game anyway.
Yeah.
Spewing up acid all over the place. That could be pretty insane.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Toxicroak would definitely be a good selection. The next one that I would have to say that I would like to as a number 2 for me would be Hitmonlee.
Yeah.
Oh man, Hitmonlee would probably be super quick. Oh man, he would definitely be a fluid character. He's for definitely with Pokken being Pokken/Tekken, Hitmonlee.
Oh yeah.
Would definitely be a great add-in for something like that.
Oh yeah.
Some of the moves that he could possibly use would be Double Kick, Blaze Kick. Also, you could go with Close Combat and High Jump Kick.
Yeah,
high jump kick would be awesome. Yeah, that would hit you for crazy amounts of damage if someone was to land that on you.
And you could get behind Bill's house.
You're right.
Gen 1 references.
All right. So, how about you, John? What's your number 2?
So, my number 2 is Infernape.
All right.
Infernape is one of my favorite starters. He gets a lot of hate. I don't know why. I think he's badass.
Yeah, I think Infernape would fit well. Why not? With Blaziken in there, of course, there's probably going to be more, starter Pokemon than there are going to be any other Pokemon in the game.
Oh, yeah. Those are some of the most well-known. But Infernape could start out with Flare Blitz. Just light himself on fire and run at you, then there's Mach Punch.
Okay.
Pretty standard.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Close combat, that could be like a grab attack. Grab you,
Yeah, that would be pretty sweet.
And then, now this isn't a natural move, but it's a move that him and only the fire starters can learn from the move tutor would be Blast Burn.
Okay.
That would be an absolutely crazy ultimate move, just massive explosion.
Yeah, that would probably, but that might be a little bit of overkill too, it definitely would be their...
Gengar goes into his Mega Form.
That is true.
Throws you into a shadow
Yeah,
form.
I think it does Dream Eater. I think
Yeah,
what he does to
I'm
you.
pretty sure Blast Burn's pretty fair.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, especially for Gengar.
Exactly.
My number 3 would be Ampharos. A lot of people might not agree with me on Ampharos. I love Ampharos. I always have since Gold and Silver. It's been one of my favorite Pokemon since I was younger. So I might be being a little biased on Ampharos. But still, even with some of his natural moves that he can learn, Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon alone would be one of the moves to wreck shop with. Thunder Punch, Thunder, of course.
Yeah.
With the chance of paralyzing your opponent for a small period of time. Since it is a fighter, you ain't gonna be able to stuck in statuses for too long.
Yeah.
And then of course his last natural move that he can learn is Dragon Pulse.
Yeah.
So Dragon Pulse would probably be, because there's not even a lot of Dragon type Pokemon in the game. So just alone for Ampharos to learn that as a natural move, Dragon Pulse I feel like would be a great, especially animation wise,
Yeah.
what they could really do with that. Yourself?
Well, elaborating on what you said about the Dragon Pokemon, as far as I'm aware, there haven't been any Dragon Pokemon announced for Pokken Tournament.
Not yet.
So that brings me to my number 3, Haxorus.
Oh, nice.
Dragons are my favorite types. My favorite type of Pokemon. I hate fairies. I think they're stupid. That's a whole other video. But Haxorus, starting out with Dragon Claw, that could be like his normal punch attack, just run in, just Dragon Claw away.
Oh yeah.
And then another attack. It's kind of similar to Dragon Claw. It's also a Dragon type attack called Dual Chop. Kind of like Dragon X Scissor.
Okay, yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like
okay, I know
Dragon
what you're
X
talking
Scissor.
about.
And then this was going to be his ultimate at first, Outrage.
Okay.
That's like the most well-known, like super powerful dragon attack. Outrage is absolutely crazy. This is not a natural move. It's a move tutor move, but it's a dragon thing. His ultimate could obviously be Draco Meteor.
Okay. Yeah.
That's a crazy powerful move. And I would love to see that animation in Pokken Tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be really, especially for a dragon type, I think it's a pretty good choice. Because you gotta kind of watch because I want to try to stay away from the legendaries.
Oh yeah,
when it comes into this game.
Yeah.
So I feel like as a dragon type, that's actually a pretty good choice because Dragonite. I don't know how I would really feel about Dragonite being in the game.
Haxorus would wreck shop until they decide to put Jigglypuff in the game. And then all of a sudden, that way a fairy type.
A new challenger approaches.
Yeah.
So I would have to say for my next one, my number 4, I would have to say Jolteon. The one reason why it took me a little while to choose which Pokemon out of the Eevee evolutions I would want. I'm a huge Vaporeon fan. Always have been, always will be. But I just felt like Jolteon it's going to be the most fluid evolution that you could possibly put in Pokken Tournament. You use his agility attack to buff up his speed, of course, and then you just use attacks like Thunderbolt, Thunder Fang, and Discharge. I mean, it's a wrap. Discharging someone to where they can't use maybe their special or something if you hit them with Discharge.
Oh yeah.
Before they start be able to unveil their special on you, I think that Jolteon could be a force to be reckoned with in Pokken Tournament.
Oh yeah, and typically with this game, because it's a fighter game, we were typically stick to the bipedals, but since Suicune's in the game already, there's no reason that Jolteon couldn't be.
Exactly, they know how to work the whole dog type Pokemon setting, so
yeah.
Jolteon is a very viable option that they could use in this new game. Yourself?
All right, so my number 4 is a little unconventional. It's a little out of what we've seen for Pokken Tournament, but Snorlax.
Okay.
A lot of the Pokemon that have been announced for Pokken Tournament have been more speed based.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing a lot of fast fighters out there, stuff like that. But Snorlax could bring like a tank feel to the game.
Yeah.
Me myself, when I play games, I like the heavier, slower, harder hitting. So he could have, a few extra health bars.
Okay.
Give him a little bit of a health handicap because he's slower. But, then he could have, like, roll out and crunch and heavy slam.
Yeah.
And then, he could really bring it big with his ultimate of Giga Impact.
Oh, man. That would be a little OP, but, I mean, it would be awesome to see Snorlax,
Yeah, I mean, you got to feel, with his speed, with the speed differential, you're using Greninja against him. You're going to get 3 and 4 hits off in the time it takes him to get, one normal punch in.
It would almost kind of be like, a comparison to Nightmare off Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Very slow, but hits heavy.
Yeah, or Astaroth,
There you go.
I love him, but he's really hard to use because it's like he's so slow that you really got to time your attacks.
Yeah.
So what's your number 5?
So for my 5th and final Pokemon, took me a little while to decide what I was gonna pick. Came out to the perfect one. I don't know why I didn't think of it earlier because I love this Pokemon as well, even though it is a starter. Some people be like, it's cliche, it's such a starter Pokemon, whatever. How could you not add Feraligatr?
Yeah, buddy.
I mean, ultimately, You know, you have movesets such as Ice Fang and Hydro Pump. You know, you have Aqua Tail and Thrash. Thrash would be ridiculous, even though it inflicts damage onto the Pokemon. Thrash would probably be ridiculously beautiful into what they could do with the animation alone with it.
Oh yeah,
You know,
it could be a lot like Close Combat.
yes,
You know,
a lot like Close Combat. You know, but you just see like Feraligatr like just almost pretty much mounting his opponent and thrashing him apart.
Yeah.
Like it would be so awesome to see. You know, Feraligatr alone. You know, he's a tank. You know, you put Feraligatr out there on the board, man. You know, and he has a nice. You know, he might be a little slow at first. You know, but I feel like once you got down the combo set for him, oh man, that would be a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and I mean that goes along with what I said with Snorlax. It's like it breaks out of what we've seen a little bit. You know, it's Feraligator's not the fastest Pokemon. I mean, he's not going to be as slow as Snorlax.
Yeah.
But he's got that happy medium. You know, he's still going to hit hard. You know, hit harder than some of these lighter Pokemon.
Yeah.
So it's a balance thing.
Yeah, most definitely. And how about yourself for your fifth and final choice?
So my number 5, the last one that actually made the list, was Zoroark.
Okay. Oh man, Zoroark, that's a pretty good choice.
You know,
I like that choice.
I'm not really sure if he's actually a legendary. After like the 3rd season, they kind of started to get blurry on what's a legendary and what's just kind of a rare Pokemon. So I don't really know if Zoroark's actually considered a legendary.
I mean, they have Suicune in there anyway.
Yeah, they got Suicune in there. So he could have moves like Night Slash.
Okay.
This is the first move I actually put in that was not a damaging move. Would be Imprison.
Okay.
You know, temporarily freeze him. You know, then he could have Shadow Claw. And then his signature move, Night Daze, you know.
Yep. Yeah, that would definitely.
Throwing a Shadow Orb at you, dealing massive damage, you know. And for those of you that have seen the Zoroark movie, you know, he's kind of like Greninja in the ninja aspect. Like, he can shapeshift and stuff like that. So that could be, something that could work into the game somehow. I feel like that could be a really cool mechanic if they could get that to work.
Oh, yeah. I mean, shoot, I feel like we did a pretty good job on our top 10 list.
Yeah.
I did have a couple honorable mentions.
Yeah, I had a few.
I'm sure you did as well.
Yeah, I had a few that just didn't quite make the list.
Yeah, it just felt like they could be in there, but it just I don't know how I would ultimately feel. You know, people down, voice your opinions in the comment section below. Let us know what you thought of our top 10 that we set.
Yeah.
Whether you agree, which ones you don't agree on. Let us know. But as far as the honorable mentions go, one of them would have to be Aegislash.
Yeah.
If that is how you pronounce it. But yeah, Aegislash I think would be really cool, especially from going to the attack, the defense stance.
Yeah.
I feel like you could do a lot with him. Maybe he might just be a little bit too much to do with just because of the attack and defense.
Yeah.
Be having to switch in between. It might just get to a point where you could break someone's guard.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's I feel like his defense would be.
I feel like he doesn't physically fit into the game.
Yeah, and his defense would probably be too OP for someone to actually break his guard. It'd probably take you a while to break guard. Because if you saw any footage out there of the Dark Mewtwo, his guard was ridiculous that dude was breaking. Like, it took the guy like 30, 40 seconds to break his guard with like hitting him with like a 30-piece combo. It was, it was ultimately just like, okay, it's a little bit too much.
But rolling on with the honorable mentions, a lot of mine didn't make the list because they were too similar to ones on my list.
Yeah.
Like Kangaskhan would be awesome, but he was too similar to Snorlax.
Yes.
Emboar was on my list. He had actually at one point made the final cut, but he was too close to Infernape.
Yeah.
I feel like he was just a slower Infernape. Others would be like Primeape was on my list at one point, but he was too basic.
Yeah, his moveset's not the greatest.
Was too basic. I would have had to dip too much into TMs and stuff like that. He doesn't naturally learn moves good enough for this. What do you got?
I'm going to say this is going to be my last honorable mention. I'm only going to mention 2 because the list could go on forever.
Yeah.
Alakazam and Mega Alakazam.
Yeah.
Why not? Alakazam's a beast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you? You have Gengar in the game.
You got Mewtwo.
You've got Mewtwo in the game. Why can't Mega? He's a badass.
Oh yeah,
Just the whole his stance, everything about him.
especially Mega Alakazam.
Yeah,
And his pose with the
exactly.
spoons. Like,
That would be badass to see.
oh
Especially with his psychic ability alone, that would just do a lot. Psychic, even though it's a basic move for a lot of Pokemon,
yeah.
I feel like with Mega Alakazam, shop.
Well, and if Mewtwo can make it into the game and he's not a fighting type, then there's no reason Alakazam couldn't work in there.
Yeah, so I definitely agree.
But with that, that's going to be it for today's video. Let us know what you guys think. Comment in the section below Pokemon that you'd like to see in Pokken Tournament. But peace out, guys.
Have a good one.
Make sure you check out our other YouTube videos right here. Go ahead and click on them. You guys know you want to click on them. Click, click, click.